You see, I'm a chapter master that actually listens to his fellow brothers and sisters when they actually request something. This is Sprues and Studs, and welcome on in, and surprise, surprise again, we are going to be reviewing yet 2 action figures in the JoyToy lineup that was recently released, and this is based off of your comments as well as your request that you wanted to see the rest of the White Scars squad. So we're going to definitely be reviewing both of them today, and we're going to see exactly what's going on with them, how they are different from the regular Space Marines that have actually been presented in the past. And yeah, obviously you don't want to see me rambling like this, so let's just dive right on to the review.
One Intercessor Sergeant opened. Opening. Ooh, shiny. And uncovering. Ooh. So we have the shiny White Scars Sergeant in front of us. Let's see what's going on. Channel regulars, you already know what's up. We're going to take a look at the weapons, and let's just dive right in, especially with the bolt rifle over here. See if there's anything different with this one. Well, looks like it actually isn't really that much difference. It actually doesn't have too many highlights, but at least there are some highlights, as you see up here and sort of around the edges over here. So at least there are some highlights to actually make this bolt rifle pop out. And one thing that actually makes this a little bit different is the strap over here. It's made of a very soft plastic, and a lot of the Space Marines actually do not have this special little piece there. So it makes a little bit of a difference when you're looking at this. It actually stands out compared to the other Space Marine brethren that this might actually be compared to. I'm looking at this and there's actually no highlights whatsoever. It's just a kind of a flat black kind of piece for the whole entire body of the bolt pistol. And then when you get to the dark gunmetal places, you actually do see some sort of weathering going on a little bit. Now, let's just take a look at the chainsword here. So obviously this is a very unique looking chainsword. Most of them are basically completely straight. They don't have this curved kind of look to mimic this saber, which is actually really cool because, you know what? The White Scars obviously have their own type of theme and look to them, and this perfectly captures the kind of look too. I really like the curvature of this chainsword. Here you do have some highlights over here. I do like this added extra little touch over here with the White Scars lightning bolt that you see on actually both sides of the chainsword, which again further differentiates this chainsword amongst its other brethren here. Another bigger differentiation is actually this tassel back here too. You're not going to find any kind of chainsword compared to this one. And finally, we have the holstered bolt pistol or heavy bolt pistol. This definitely could not fit a heavy bolt pistol. This is probably just a regular one. So anyways, you have your regular purity seal that you see over here. Nothing too much of a change or any kind of difference that you see in this one. And finally, let's take a look at the bare head of this Space Marine. I think this Space Marine has been hitting a little bit hard, you know? Likes to party a little bit, smoking on the coke a little. Unfortunately, this highlight here is a little weird. It's a little bit too pronounced, in my opinion. I'll have to say that I wish they would have dialed down on it. But regardless, I will have to say that JoyToy does a fantastic job of doing the faces. I just am blown away at the scale that they are able to actually paint this and manufacture this. So as you look at this, the eyes are perfectly screened. There is absolutely nothing wrong with them. It's really nice to see shading in between these dark recesses over here, and it really makes this Space Marine head jump out. All right, folks, let's take a look at the head. Is really cool looking. I really like the red over here, but really contrasts to the white of the whole entire armor, and it makes it stand out. I also like how the Intercessors vents are heavily shaded, and there's a ton of shading that's going on over here. Let's take a look at the pauldrons. Once again, perfectly screened. On the other side, perfectly screened as well. This really looks nice, really looks clean, and I am totally down with it. So looking at the skull area over here, I would have to say this is very, very unique. I don't think I've ever seen any kind of Space Marine that has this sort of detail on it. And looking at this particular forearm area, I really like how this glow has been established too. I don't know if I've ever seen a Space Marine with a pattern such as this, but it's really nice to see something that stands out. And looking at the chest area, the metallic look actually gives more pop than compared to just the regular head that you see over here. Okay, taking a look at the belt area, we are looking at basically all the accoutrements that go with the Space Marine. What I find surprising is there's actually no shading whatsoever between the crevices on these pouches, which is very interesting to me. Usually JoyToy will heavily shade with these kind of colors over here, but you actually do not see any of that going on. This is actually one of the better looking belts that I have seen in the past that JoyToy has actually cranked. And finally, looking at the leg area of the Sergeant, we are looking at basically all the different markings and stuff. So you have the White Scars lightning bolt here, and as well as probably a pronounced lightning bolt over here as well. Now that the Sergeant is taken a look at, we will move on to the other one.
Regular Intercessor opening. Ripping plastic. Opening fantastic. Oh. There we go.
Well, well, well. This is actually the first major fuck up that I've actually seen in a JoyToy action figure. I am very displeased to let you know that, well, I don't know exactly what happened here, but apparently my White Scar regular Intercessor got completely mangled. Wow, this is unfortunately very disappointing to see. And on top of that, I'm looking at this part. The peg has been completely removed from the top of this backpack. Wow, this is... oh, goodness gracious me. I'm very disappointed here, and I'm disappointed to actually be showing this to you, because JoyToy needs to be stepping up their game a lot more than this. All right, everybody, let's go through this real quick and basically highlight the contrasts and differences as well as the similarities between the Sergeant as well as this regular Intercessor. So we're taking a look at this bolt rifle over here. And one thing that is completely different of this bolt rifle from the Sergeant is that it's got these aux grenades rounds over here. So it's really nice to see that there is variation between the Intercessors. And then you have this aux grenade launcher over here that is featured on this regular Space Marine. Now, taking a look at the heavy bolt pistol, there is actually no difference whatsoever from this one compared to the Intercessor Sergeant one. And taking a look at the chainsword over here, this mimics the chainsword that we took a look at for the Intercessor Sergeant. Let's just take a look at the bare head that has been supplied with this one. This bare head has not been smoking coke, unlike the Sergeant. So we have this very cool looking bionic eye that's going on over here, and a bunch of highlights that you see with the scars, and finally there's a bunch of shading in the dark recess of it. Backpack is one thing that I did not highlight on the Intercessor Sergeant, and one thing that I'll have to say is that there's really nothing that really jumps out to me too much about this backpack, aside from the fact that, well, it's got this weird grease on it, as well as a peg is missing because apparently it broke off in the back. Taking a look at the head, it basically is the look of an Intercessor Mark 10 armor. There's nothing too different about it. And then the pauldrons look pretty clean to me. Perfectly screened on this side, perfectly screened on that side. Looking at this belt region of the Intercessor, it's very interesting taking a look at the skull. I'll have to say the skull is a very cool characteristic that you see in this action figure. And finally, taking a look at the legs, well, there's not too much departure from the legs from what we've been used to seeing before. First, I'm going to pop off the helmet of this Sergeant. It's very easy to do, so I'm going to replace this with the bare head. And there you go. You see the helmet got popped off. So I'm going to be putting the bare head of the sergeant on here. Very easy to do. This holster, you can actually just pop out like this. And then you can add the pistoled version of the holster right here. Bingo. And then we will outfit this sergeant with his chainsword. And there you go. Very, very easy to do. So we've got the sergeant completely kitted out. I don't really want to kit out the regular intercessor because he's in pieces and shambles. So let me wrap this up with my final thoughts.
So I'm going to start off with asking, what did you think of the White Scars? Let me know in the comments section what your thoughts are, what your comments are, what you really thought about what was going on with all the stuff that was with the regular intercessor as well as the sergeant. And then I will now put my take on what was going on with the White Scars. So first of all, well, the quality control for this poor intercessor is very lacking. It really pains me to see our Space Marine brethren literally in complete pieces, and this is basically dreadnought-worthy kind of action going on over here. So this is a pretty huge miss for JoyToy's quality control, unfortunately. But let's just put aside the whole entire dismemberment of the Space Marine and actually focus in on just the Space Marine itself. So again, a bunch of you have asked me exactly what the Space Marine looks like when he's on his bike. So here you go. You have the Space Marine on the Raider Combat bike. He fits perfectly. He looks really nice. He looks like he belongs. Of course he belongs because he's a White Scar on a bike. So there are a few things that I like about this whole entire action figures that were presented here. First of all is the chainsword. The chainsword is obviously very, very unique. It's got that curved look to it, and then it's got that huge tassel on the end with the horsehair, which completely represents the White Scars to a complete T. So JoyToy has that completely going for them. The second thing that I really like is basically how that the White Scars action figures actually have bare heads. And I'll have to say with the Sergeant, it's a very, very cool take that the Sergeant actually has a basically fistful of skulls in his hand that he is waving to the enemies as he's riding his bike into battle. The painting on these White Scars leave a little bit lacking. I wish that it was a little bit more clean. If they were actually going to make this thing dirty looking, I would appreciate it if it actually looked like a little bit more like the Tau suits. So should you actually get the White Scars set? And my answer is, if you're not a White Scars fan, then you should probably just pass on this. There's really nothing too much that actually differentiates these White Scars from the regular Space Marines, aside from obviously the bare head as well as the chainsword that is going on with it. So anyways, this is Sprues and Studs. Again, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate all of your viewership as well as their comments that you leave each and every single time. It is very much appreciated, as again, I would not be here without your viewership. So many, many thanks. So again, I will see you all in the next one.